Hey guys! Welcome back to our channel. My name is Jay.
My name is Shina.
And we are starting a new series on our channel, which is a true crime series. Today we are starting with our first case, which will be the Kenneka Jenkins case. So the way this is going to work is we're going to talk about the storyline based on what news articles and news television shows have released. And then we're going to go into theories and suspicions. And after that, we're going to tell y'all our opinions and what we think happened. So if you are interested and if you want to know more about this case, keep watching. But before we get into this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to follow our social medias, which are linked in the description box as well as on the screen throughout the video. And without further ado, we're going to get started.
Yeah.
As we mentioned earlier in the video, this case is on a young teenager named Kenneka Jenkins. She was 19 years old. She was found at the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont. So originally she was at the hotel for a party which was housing about 30 people, a little bit more, maybe a little less. And she was there with her friends. So obviously if you're at a party and you're at a hotel, there's going to be drugs and alcohol involved. So she was intoxicated, and there were also drugs that were found in her system. So Jenkins had not been seen for a few hours and no one knew where she was. And ultimately they found her body in the hotel's freezer in the kitchen. The last time anyone had spoken to Jenkins was around 1:30 a.m. She had called her sister and spoken to her briefly. And then around 4 a.m. a call had been made to Jenkins' mother informing her that her daughter was missing and no one knew where she was. So after her mother received a phone call, her mother went up to the hotel at around 5 a.m. and she was looking for her daughter and she couldn't find her. She also requested surveillance footage from the cameras around the hotel, and no one was really paying her any mind. No one was really into fulfilling her requests. So now we're going to get into the footage that was released to the public. So originally the public was only exposed to very short, brief clips of when Jenkins was last seen around the hotel. There were clips that showed her in the hotel hallway, and there were clips that showed her going into the kitchen. But there was never footage of her actually walking into the freezer, which is where she was found dead. So in the video footage of her walking around the hotel, it is obvious that she was intoxicated and that she had been drinking. In police reports, it was also said that she had drugs in her system. In police reports, it also disclosed that she had taken some sort of medication that were for migraines, but her family said that she had not been prescribed any medicine for migraines. 36 hours of surveillance footage had been collected. However, after 48 hours of requesting it, the family was not allowed to see the footage, and the video footage was not released to the public. Now, when looking at this footage, you will notice that there are a few people that are in her surrounding areas, but they don't really pay her any mind. They don't really seem too concerned about her, which is also questionable. Another thing to note about the video footage was that it was very chopped up and it wasn't smooth sailing. It seems that the hotel had edited the videos to make it seem as though the situation went in a different way than it actually did. So as she was walking around the hotel, she had walked down several hallways, went through several doors, and she ended up going into a restroom. In some footage that I had seen, it showed that she had went into the restroom, she was in there for a little bit of time, and then she came out. And nothing else had been seen of that footage. But in some new footage that had been released, there was a man that had went into the same restroom and was in there for the same amount of time as she was. And he left the restroom around the same time that she had left. Now, when they released this footage, of course, the footage was chopped up, so you didn't see the man entering or leaving the restroom at all. And when she left the restroom, she went around the corner. And when you look at the footage of the guy leaving the restroom, he went around the same corner, and they were around that corner for the same amount of time. So it had appeared that this man was following her in the restroom, out of the restroom, and around this corner. But in the footage that was released from the hotel the first time, no one saw that. There was also another man who was actually staffed at the hotel who was vacuuming around the restroom. One thing to note that was kind of suspicious about this whole situation was there were a series of coins around the hotel that were being picked up during this situation. So in this footage, you see this man vacuuming around the bathroom area, and then he proceeds to go up the stairs, picks up a coin. The thing about this footage was that there was a cut in between the footage. So you don't see what he did with the coin, but you can kind of tell that he was about to put it in his pocket. And according to many other videos that I've seen, there have been coins all around the hotel kind of marking spots in which certain things will take place. So then the next pieces of footage take place in the hotel kitchen, and you see her wandering through the kitchen, kind of, very still intoxicated. But you see her go out of frame, and then she comes back into frame from another camera, but you never see her go into the freezer. There was never any video footage released of her actually walking into a freezer, so it's basically kind of questionable as to whether or not she actually did or if someone put her in there.
Alright guys, so now I'm going to go through the theories and suspicions within the Kenneka Jenkins case. So, like Jay mentioned, the first theory, or what the police department said happened, is that Kenneka Jenkins walked into the freezer herself and died of hypothermia. What people think is wrong with this theory, and what I myself think is wrong with this theory, is the fact that the freezer door is a heavy door. And the fact that Kenneka Jenkins was intoxicated would not really match up with the fact that she could open the heavy door. Like, if you think about it, an intoxicated person is moving very sluggish, very slow, and so for her, very weak, and for her to be able to open that large, huge, humongous, who knows how many pounds
metal door
while she's intoxicated really makes little to no sense. So that's the first theory, and that's kind of what doesn't really make sense with that theory. So the next theory is that Kenneka's friend Monifa Shelton, I don't know if I said that right, but Monifa Shelton set Kenneka up to be raped for $200. So the background behind this theory is that Monifa Shelton, Kenneka's friend, liked a guy, but the guy didn't like her back. Supposedly the guy liked Kenneka Jenkins, and so it is supposedly said that Monifa set the guy with Kenneka Jenkins up for her to get raped for just $200. And another reason why people believe this is because Monifa was acting really shady and like really guilty and just posting things on Facebook and Twitter saying how bad she felt and things like that, which would make sense because Kenneka was left in the hotel, so maybe she was feeling bad because of that, but other people came up with this theory saying that no, she just collected $200 in order for her friend to get raped out of jealousy because the guy she liked didn't like her back.
Also, in like the first part of the video footage, you see her with a female and another male. Mm-hmm. So
that could also be why people think this theory is true. There's also rumors that Monifa Shelton committed suicide, maybe out of guilt, but that has never actually been confirmed. Also, there's like a Twitter post where Monifa Shelton is admitting to the killing of Kenneka Jenkins, but then Monifa goes on to say that she only said that because she didn't want to get killed herself, and we'll insert like pictures and clips throughout the video so y'all can see what we're talking about. So the next theory is about a girl named Irene Roberts, and Irene Roberts was one of the people who was at the hotel party the same time that Kenneka Jenkins was. While this whole thing is going on, Irene Roberts is actually on Facebook Live recording everything, so there's plenty of footage of like what happened that night from the perspective of Roberts. So within like the video, people supposedly see Kenneka Jenkins in the reflection of Irene's glasses being raped, but that was also never confirmed. And listening to the audio of the Facebook Live video that Roberts shot, people think they hear a young lady saying "help me," but that was also another piece that hasn't been confirmed. Irene Roberts was someone who worked at the hotel, so she easily knew the whereabouts of everything within the hotel and how to get to and fro different parts of the hotel. So people think that it would make sense how Kenneka Jenkins would get into the freezer. This hotel states that the freezer had not been in use, so in order for Kenneka to die of hypothermia, it would have had to be on, so someone must have plugged in the freezer that night or after they put Kenneka in maybe. So yeah. So like I said before, Irene Roberts did work at the hotel, and so it would make sense for her to be able to get a room like within the hotel because she had connections or something. And so people think that she actually set this whole thing up and invited a bunch of men there for Kenneka Jenkins to get raped. There was also a video that came out showing Irene Roberts at the police station, but that was never confirmed, and no one really knows if she was actually at the police station, but that's also just another piece of this conspiracy theory. One of the last theories is that the hotel manager actually set this whole thing up for Kenneka Jenkins to be killed so there could be harvesting of her organs. What was said is that the hotel manager hired a guy named Roberts to actually lure Kenneka Jenkins and maybe her friends to the hotel for this party. The reason why people kind of lean towards this theory is because one, she was found in a freezer, and I guess in order to harvest organs, the person needs to be cold maybe. I don't really know about that whole thing, but I guess that would make sense and why like they kept her in the freezer so she would not decompose or something.
Yeah, so she can kind of I guess her organs would still be kind of
fresh maybe.
Yeah.
Another reason why people believe that the hotel was in on this whole thing is because of the fact that they didn't want to give up surveillance video and the fact that it was all chopped and screwed and all of that.
Something else that could have prevented the hotel from releasing the footage and everything like that was someone behind the whole thing could have paid the hotel.
What do you mean?
Like someone could have paid the hotel to keep things quiet.
Yeah.
So they could have been under threat as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
who knows? Another reason why people believe this theory is because of the fact that there was a local organ donation center just 20 minutes away from the hotel, which was under investigation the same time as the Kenneka Jenkins case. The reason this donation center was under investigation was because a family had sued them for using a 23-year-old boy's organs for medical research. So the fact that there was such a close organ donation center near the hotel that was under investigation kind of puts people towards this theory that maybe Kenneka Jenkins was killed and her organs were trying to be harvested. So those are the main theories within this case. Of course, there's going to be plenty more conspiracy theories because conspiracy theories are everywhere, but those are the main ones that people look into or point to when looking into the Kenneka Jenkins case. So right now, me and Jay are going to go ahead and talk about what we think happened in this particular case and who we think killed her, what we think happened, and our opinions. Okay, so my opinion on what happened is I just think that Kenneka Jenkins went to an actual hotel party, not one that was set up. She got intoxicated, left the room without anyone knowing, and then there was maybe I don't know if it was hotel staff or maybe just a random man who found this girl intoxicated, raped her maybe, and then found somewhere to put her. I don't think Monifa Shelton or Irene Roberts had so much to do with it. I think they just really felt guilty because they came to the party with this girl and then they couldn't find her. I think that's where the guilt ate them alive. I also don't think the hotel was doing any organ harvesting. That theory is kind of just like out there. It's kind of just a coincidence. But yeah, I think she just was at the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong friends who should have been watching her, or like should have been making sure that they had each other's backs and didn't. And she just left, maybe walked out of the room, and just was never seen again.
I think a mixture of things happened. I think that the hotel was kind of involved in everything because the workers were not really like concerned. Me personally, if I worked somewhere and there was someone extremely intoxicated, I would have informed my manager or someone that, you know, could have potentially helped with this situation. But it seemed like no one was concerned about this girl's well-being. So that's kind of why I think that the hotel had something to do with it. I'm not really sure about the whole best friend paying for her to get raped, but I just found it odd that she was originally with a group of people, like a couple of people walking around the hotel, and then all of a sudden she's by herself, or you see no one else with her. I just find that kind of very odd. So I don't know necessarily if it was the best friend that was involved, but someone who she knew, I think, could have been involved. And I definitely don't think she committed suicide. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't think she just walked into a freezer and just sat there and just let herself freeze to death. I definitely don't think that's the case. I feel like that's just something, like, that doesn't even make any type of sense. I don't think anyone who is under the influence would be capable of doing something like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And the fact that the freezer was unplugged, she's not gonna like, oh.
She's not gonna pull the freezer out, plug it in, and then
let me walk in right in. No, that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I definitely think that the people who investigated this and came up with this conclusion definitely didn't try. They obviously, like...
They neglected the whole...
They definitely neglected this case. I saw where, like, they didn't really, like, follow the footsteps that she had made based on the video footage. They kind of just wandered around and just... I guess came up with this conclusion, you know, on the top of their heads, but it makes absolutely no sense. The way that investigators and people behind this investigation treated the family was kind of also suspicious. Like, they didn't really care much for pleasing the family's request or anything like that. So I just find it very odd that, you know, this was taken so lightly. So that's going to be it for this video today. We hope y'all enjoyed this new type of series that we're starting. If you have any feedback, any opinions that you want to add, please leave them in the comments. We are open to suggestions, to feedback, to your opinions. We would really love to know. We hope y'all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to check out our social medias and our other videos because we have plenty. And we will see you guys in the next video.
Bye.
Smoking no cook in the hot bar. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. Call up the gang and they come and get